Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 104 of the RRBG podcast. In this episode, I talked to Scott Taysum of the band Cloak. We talk a little bit about their new album that they're working on. We talk a little bit about tours that are upcoming with Khemmis in July. We talk a little bit about his music video, which he produced himself, and other future film projects, and a bunch of other stuff. It was a lot of fun talking to him. I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to check them out on social media at Cloak_Atlanta. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. Cheers. What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the RRBG podcast. I'm here with Scott Taysum of Cloak. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. I want to thank Mark for setting me up with you guys. I've been wanting to talk to you for a bit. You guys are making some waves in the metal scene, and I unfortunately missed your set at Psycho Smokeout, which I was really bummed about because I was running around handling the Orange Amps Instagram, taking pictures and stuff, and then I run into Mark, and he's like, "Yeah, Cloak just finished it," and I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah, the fest can be a little bit overwhelming on sort of both ends, you know, as bands or fans or people working there. So I get it. The stress is pretty crazy. I mean, it's such an on-off scenario. You know, we were rushed completely at both Psycho Fests, actually, so that's just the way it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's a the name is appropriate. It's pretty psycho. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of stages. I mean, especially the one in Vegas is massive. It's an entire hotel, basically.
Yeah, it's a little more high profile.
Yeah, that too. There's a lot of big names going around. Like, this year, I believe, is it Megadeth or?
Yeah, them and
Opeth.
A couple other. Yeah, it's a big. It's pretty big.
Are you guys playing this year?
We're not.
Okay. Well, then we'll stop talking about that then. No. So you guys have some new music coming out, right? Or are you're playing some new music on the upcoming tour?
Yeah, I kind of was just listening to the final mixes as we speak. I can't say much more about the new album, but there is one, and don't have a release date or anything like that, but we've been slowly introducing songs into the set list. On the upcoming tour with Khemmis, we're introducing 2 new songs into the set list on that one, so
nice.
People can sort of keep an ear out for that.
Very cool. I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah. Awesome.
You guys, by the way, when you Google Cloak band,
right,
it has a picture of you guys, and it has your album, your EP that came out, London Dungeon, with the Misfits cover, and under genre though it says dance electronic.
Oh yeah, I think obviously incorrect, but I think there's probably some Cloak names under that.
Probably like a
that
DJ
sort of
or something.
Genre, yeah, something like that. So
I think it's hilarious though.
Yeah, hopefully that'll kind of change as we do more.
Yeah, no, I think it's fine. I think it's funny though for anybody looking, if they go and they're looking for actual dance music and then they listen to you guys and you just like change their entire lives. Yeah,
it'll
like,
maybe turn them on to
this?
Yeah, and then they'll check out some good music.
Yeah, man. What is it typically? What would you call your band's genre if you were to label? I know it's hard to label music.
Yeah, but, it's hard.
There's
especially
black metal
the old,
elements,
Yeah, the old cliche of artists not wanting to put themselves in a box is definitely there with us too. But I always sort of said it has the spirit of black metal with the backbone of rock and roll. I think that has always been the point since we started. We wanted to introduce rock and roll back into metal, which I think is something that really just has gone away. Aside from a handful of bands, there's just not many people just completely going for it on stage. It's just so stoic now, and it's all about the shredding and the riffs, and instead of just like putting the full energy back into it like old rock and roll had. And I think that was always sort of the goal with us. So yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people call us black metal. A lot of people kind of stuck the black and roll term onto us, you know, whatever that really means.
Black and roll.
Yeah, black and roll. But I wouldn't really, I don't know, maybe it's fitting. I wouldn't really call it that. I think more of like Midnight when I hear that, or more of Motorhead and Venom style bands. But
yeah, but you guys do have a kind of a classic vibe to it. Like, it's fresh and it's new music, but
for sure. Yeah.
But it definitely, like, the moment I saw it, I'm like, this feels like everything I grew up listening to in a good way. Like, I felt good. I'm like, wow, look at that. Like, even the look of the band, like I saw the video for Beyond the Veil, and it's very old school rock and roll video with like very, very good imagery. And did you do that video? Because I know you dabble in video.
Yes. Me, childhood friend of mine, David Parham, shot it. I edited it. And Max, our guitarist, does a good bit of video work with us as well. So we handled both videos for the last album, and we're really kind of going through new ideas for upcoming videos for the new album too. Kind of within the past couple months, we've been brainstorming. So we should be handling those too as well.
Very nice, man, and I love that. Yeah. You know, like I said, it feels very classic. And what were some of the things you like? What influenced you to go in that direction with the direction of the film?
It's just to us, like, the full package needs to be there with the band. I mean, we worship just 80s heavy metal and just all the classics in general. I mean, that's still what I listen to. My favorite bands are still Venom, Metallica, you know, Motorhead, Danzig, Iron Maiden. It's just those are my favorite bands. Like, those are what I'm going to go back to at the end of the day. Bathory, you know, for the black metal stuff. It's just, like you said, the classic vibe. I mean, I've always been attracted to that. So it's gonna shine through in our music.
Oh yeah, and your music, the whole package of the band, you know.
Yeah, we don't want to get up there wearing jeans and a t-shirt. I mean, it's just, that was something that was decided early on. And yeah, I mean, it's just part of the package at this point.
Sure. And you know, it's part of being an artist. Like, it's one of the things that I grew up appreciating, bands like that, and also like pro wrestling, where you know, these big characters, you know, and over the top, but that's what draws attention to, you know, that's what brings crowds, you know, and people forget how important that is.
No, yeah, I agree. I grew up, it's funny you mentioned that. I grew up on wrestling as well, so I don't really watch it much anymore, and I don't think that ties into our music. But like, as a child, I was always attracted to that big image. I mean, even bands like Kiss or you know, bands like that. Just that big image. I don't really want to call it a character, because we're not being characters on stage. It's more of an extension of ourselves. But yeah, I mean, just that larger than life imagery is, I mean, that really is what drew us to black metal in the first place.
Sure. And I don't mean to call it like a character thing, but like, for example, like, you know, not to keep talking about wrestling either, but, you know, the most successful wrestler, I would say, in recent memory would be Stone Cold Steve Austin. The guy's a celebrity, basically, and The Rock too, but I guess The Rock kind of, but Stone Cold was a character, but it was basically him. He said it. It's like, this is just me, but, you know, to the extreme. This is me. Right. This is all of me. Like, 100%, you know, Steve Austin. And,
right.
I think that's what you guys are doing, just representing 100% of what you are. You're not holding back to any kind of like weird, metal elitist kind of mentality that people get sometimes. Like, oh yeah, what are you gonna wear, leather pants? Yeah, I am. Fuck you.
Exactly. I mean, it's just the same people talking shit on that listen to Venom, and Venom did the same fucking thing. So
exactly, yeah. And then that's the other thing. People like if you like they're like, oh, they're just trying to do that look. It's like, no, man. It's just if that's what you grew up with, that's who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've always been. I've been wearing cowboy boots for a long time. So
nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, exactly. I guess the last point on wrestling I'll have to make is I think it's fitting that my favorite characters were The Undertaker and Sting. So
nice, yeah.
that plays a part. No, it all comes full circle. No, but yeah, I mean, it's just going back to the point. Yeah, it's part of it. You know, it just has to be. I'm not sold on bands who just don't go for it 100%, and I think that just has to be part of what we do, or it would be fake.
Yeah, well, the thing, what happened was, we started promote, which is not a bad thing to promote, obviously, but the world kind of started promoting this, like, hey, you have the internet at your disposal, you can be a star if you wanted to be, right? And a lot of people don't go 100% like that, but when back before the internet was a thing, the way that I was attracted to music and entertainment, that was the time when we would have celebrity, like star fucking rock stars. Like, we don't have that much anymore. There's still some around, but like back in the 80s and in that era, like the late 70s and 80s, they were gods. You look at Dio. Dio's a god. You know what I mean? And,
exactly.
That's not around much anymore. There's no dudes I look at in the current scene where I'm like, that dude right there, yeah, he's, I don't know. They're not really, like, you guys are bringing something fresh in my eyes that we need.
Right.
In entertainment as a whole. But anyway, the new album, I'm gonna assume the new album is gonna be kind of, a continuation of sound in terms of what we heard in like that video Beyond the Veil, or the previous releases. Right?
It is and it isn't. It's hard to explain. It's a little more to the point. We kind of trimmed off what we didn't think we needed, and we just became better songwriters in the process of the past 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, that really shines through on this record. And like I said, it is and it isn't. It's to me, it's a much more powerful record. I can't really say much more without just you just have to hear it.
Okay.
I like it way better. I think the band is much happier with it. Not that we didn't like the first record, but I don't know, it's a sophomore release. There's something to it that I think is just, we captured more of the magic on it. So
yeah, I mean, that's the way it's supposed to go too. Like you as you release records, you're kind of refining yourself, building up on what you've already established. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think they want more of the original sound. It's like, guys, you got to grow, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's what it is. I mean, it's a natural growth on this record. Mm-hmm. In the best ways. I think it took what we did on Venomous and took all the best stuff from that and just amped it up even more.
Nice. And so I'm assuming you're going to go on a crazy tour cycle once it's out.
Yeah, nothing set in stone yet, but the plan is to just tour. So it really ramped up a lot more this year, continuing the Venomous cycle. But once that new one comes out, yeah, we plan on touring on it a lot.
That's
hopefully
awesome.
Hitting Europe on this one. We didn't get to Europe on the last record, so.
Oh yeah, I think you guys would fucking kill in Europe, man. They have a bigger appreciation for your style, you know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's what we've been told. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, it depends on. I guess it all depends on the tour package too. Like if they send you out there with a dance electronic band, it might be rough.
yeah, I'm not sure that would really work.
But with Khemmis, you guys, I mean, I think that's a really good fit. Khemmis also has that, like, they're new. They're kind of the doom stoner metal type of thing, but they have classic sounding vocals. Very clean, melodic vocals.
I think that's the cool thing with with being a band like us is we can tour with like the nastiest black metal band or like the more clean vocal doom style bands or like a goth rock band. No one would really turn their heads if we toured with either one of those styles. So I think that's the good thing about not completely putting ourselves into a box. You know, I'm sure we have our limitations just like any other band. We are a metal band at the core of it, but I think it wouldn't be inappropriate to tour with the style of bands that I mentioned.
Sure. Yeah. No,
I mean, we just did a tour with Uada last month, and then we're about to do a Khemmis tour, and I mean, they're totally opposite bands. Yeah. And it's like they couldn't, those two bands couldn't really tour together. I feel like that would be a bit strange, but we could tour with either one. So you get my point.
Yeah. You're good for both audiences, which is good because you know, sometimes it's a good thing to have like a distinct sound or look where you're attracting a specific crowd and you're doing it really well. But then there's also you're limiting the crowd. You're limiting the amount of people that are going to check out your product because they're not into whatever, you know what I mean? Or like Viking stuff, you know what I mean? Like, it depends on what you're into. But I think it's great. I think you guys are opening doors too for others to check out, you know, other things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So what would be your dream tour package? Like, what are the bands you would want to play with on a tour?
Ooh, like dead or alive?
You could do both. Do one tour alive, one tour dead.
Okay. Well, obviously Iron Maiden for alive.
Nice.
And dead. Let's see. I don't know. Motorhead would be cool.
Motorhead would be cool.
Or let's see here. I don't know.
I think Motorhead's a good answer.
let's say Danzig, 1992 era Danzig.
Nice.
That would be fucking awesome.
I gotta give him props, man. He's still going. Like, he's going for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We did the Vegas thing like we talked about, and he did How the Gods Kill There, and it was great.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was a good show. Wait, you know what? I caught you guys at Psycho Las Vegas, I think. I missed you at the Smokeout.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that I remember. Vegas was even crazier, though. That was a whole 3 days of madness.
Right. What a bigger of a crowd at that one. I can also add. I'll add Sam Hain into the mix for Dream Tour. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Nice. Hell yeah. I mean, shit. Maiden might happen if you guys, you know, the rocket takes off fast. You know.
Yeah.
You get all the way up there.
I mean, they brought Ghosts. We're not really like Ghosts, but I guess anything can really happen.
Ghost would be a good tour, man, for you guys, because the sound isn't too far off in terms of the earlier Ghost albums where they're heavier. The newer stuff is a little more like, I want to say ABBA and like you know, more pop. Disco friendly. But it wouldn't really be too random though. No. We're obviously not like them at all, but in ways, I think their fans could appreciate us. I think the dirty vocals on our end are like probably the one thing that kind of is a make or break for a lot of fans, you know. Sure, yeah. I mean, even though Ghost, they have like I said, the earlier records, he does some weird like growly vocals every once in a while. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It depends on who's there, I guess. For me, like I grew up in that world where like I was listening to metal and also like disco from my mother. You know, my mother was listening to the Bee Gees and ABBA and all this shit, Boney M. So I can fall in line and see a Ghost and Cloak show. I think that would work for me. That would make me happy because I have, you know, both elements of my life.
Right. Yeah. They've brought a couple metal bands on tour. I know most of the typical underground metalheads hate the band, but whatever. They have tons of fans from different different walks of life and different, what am I trying to say? Just different fans who like different genres of music. You never know. I mean, you never know. We'll see. You can't really predict who you're going to tour with in the future. So I'm sure we'll have one of those moments where we're like, how are we touring with this band, whatever band it is,
Hey, well, you got to do isn't that the secret, right? You just will it, make it happen, think about it. Yeah, it's going to happen. Put it on your, what is it? The wall that you have to put a picture of it on, the visual board or whatever, visualization board.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff has already happened with the band that we've been like, how has this happened so quickly? So, I mean, you just never know.
Well, it's a different time, man. I think nowadays, like if a band experiences success even a little bit, that's all you really need, because social media will then just teleport you all the way to the other side.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's good and bad. I mean, like everyone says, I mean, I think social media has done great things for us that wouldn't have happened without it. It also oversaturates the hell out of music in general.
Oh yeah,
and just the whole new world of streaming. It's hard to sell records now, but surprisingly, when you tour, you do sell a lot more CDs and records. So that's just, you got to do it. You got to get out there and tour, or else you're just gonna have your music streamed all the time, and that's just the way it is now.
Yep, yeah, and hope that it ends up on one of those Discover playlists or whatever. I go out of my way because I'm a nerd, and I like look at blogs, and I'm always trying to find new bands, and I got people emailing me stuff, so I'm lucky in that sense. But if I was a general fan, just like looking for something new, you have to just hope and pray you end up on that playlist. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's rough,
we've been on a couple of those. Yeah.
But there's like a wall, I feel like there's a wall where there's bands that are trying, they're doing their best, they're touring, they're pushing, and their numbers are decent. And then there's like, once they break a certain number or certain point, it just skyrockets. Like look at Khemmis, for example, is a good point. Like I've been friends with those dudes since before I knew it was a band. Like I was friends with Zach, he's a brewer over at a True Brewing, and that's how I met him.
Yeah.
And then through that, it was like, oh, by the way, I have a band. I'm like, what the fuck? And then within like 2 or 3 years, though, now they're like skyrocketed. Like they're on, magazine covers and shit like that, Decibel Top 10 and headlining tours. Yeah, and it's you look at it and it's like, wow, that's how quickly it can happen now because of, I would say, social media. It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, and also, I think the thing with social media and your presence on social media as a band, or just like the mystique of labels, I think it can portray something that it isn't sometimes. Like, you could be on this huge label and have this huge social media following, but then you go on tour and you're still playing to 30 people. And it's just, certain shit. You're not the hot shit band you think you are. So
you're not drawing them out of their houses, out of their beds.
No, you're not. And I think touring is a big wake up call. It was for us. I mean, because you can get as many likes on Facebook and Instagram and all that crap, and then you go out there in the real world and you play shows, and you're like, wow, is this working? It can make people look like something they're not. So I think that's the other really interesting thing with social media.
For sure. I mean, I think hopefully it builds stronger bands out of it. Like, you get confronted with this reality, and then, if you continue to push forward and persevere, then you're worth it. You're worth the time and effort you put in. You made it work. If you end up giving up or something, or like, fuck it, we're not, this isn't working, we're doing shows for 5 people, then maybe you shouldn't have been in a band. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in the first place. It takes a lot of perseverance, like you said. I mean, there's times where even I'm like, it's tough. Like it's hard sometimes. You sink your life into something, and then you have to really just do it for yourself, especially in the beginning, or else there's going to be those times where you're going to want to give up. And I think Yada is another example of what we're talking about. I mean, they're such a hardworking band. I saw firsthand, and they grew so much on that first record even, and then on the second one, they've just been projected into new territory, and they're killing it. I mean, they tour nonstop Europe and the U.S. So I have a lot of respect for them.
Hell yeah, man! And it makes a big difference when you're putting yourself out there and like dedicating yourself to it, no matter what the outcome, no matter who's there. Like that's one of the things I've always seen that works for bands. Like one band I love bringing up is I don't remember Foxy Shazam. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but they were.
I don't think so.
They were, you know, we played a few shows with them. They were really heavy, but kind of all over the place, kind of Mr. Bungle-y. And then we played, you know, several shows with them in front of like 2 people at a coffee shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But during that show, they went 150%. Like they were just all over the place. Like there was 1 million people there. And
right. Yeah. You have to play the same way to,
exactly.
you know, 100 or 100,000. Yeah.
Yeah, because then one day they played, and one of those 4 people had money and was like, "I want to invest in you guys. Let's do this." And immediately now, you know, they went from 2 people at a coffee shop. They were opening up for Hole in a freaking arena tour, to where like the singer's on a fucking video with Macklemore. He's he's a huge pop star now.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it
went, just because.
Yeah.
From one guy at a show, you said.
Yeah, one dude saw them and he was like, "I'm gonna sign you guys. I'm gonna make this happen. Let's go."
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, you just never know.
You never know. You always got to give it your all, and put out something that's interesting. Like you guys are, like I said, you guys are doing it right. I think by you're keeping that classic vibe but fresh, and I think
you have to really brand yourselves these days to be something different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 1 million war metal bands, but I don't really remember a single one of them.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, you need to show that you are willing to put in that work and you know, walk through the shit like that, like playing shitty shows and getting screwed over by promoter, or, you know, living in a van with, you know, 5 other dudes farting on each other, and it's awful.
Yeah.
You know, it's all worth it in the end, though, because you're doing what you love, and the work shows, and people will respect that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard sometimes, but yeah, I mean, anything worth it takes work, so.
Yeah. Nothing comes easy, and it's not gonna just come knocking at your doorstep. It's not like those old, like when I grew up with, they just knock on your door with a giant check. You win.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that doesn't happen.
And I think anything that does come easy is going to be short lived anyway.
Yeah.
Especially in this sort of music scene or a band like us, there's going to be obstacles, and there's going to be there's going to be a lot of hard obstacles to overcome, but that's all part of it.
Yeah, and you know, it's also how you conduct yourself on tour as well. Like if you go too hard partying and stuff, you don't take care of yourself, even in the slightest. Like when I went my last tour, you know, I was a lot younger, but I went drinking, didn't eat. I never ate, and I was like, I got $5, so either I eat a burrito or I drink, and I just drank.
Yeah, it's just not a way to do it. I'm not a big partier or anything. So it's just, I couldn't even imagine. I mean, it's grueling on your body, and
it takes its
I mean, Cloak's not really a band to be in it for the partying anyways. There's a bigger kind of picture for us, but I've seen people do that, and it kills them.
Yeah. I mean, so you don't drink at all, or you're just not a big like rager party guy?
I actually don't drink.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so.
But you got to live up to the rock and roll vibes, man. You got to party.
Yeah, it's like I don't know about that. It's always been something. I've always been in it for. It's always been more of like a profound thing for me. Just rock and roll in general, and just the rebellion side of it, and you have to learn to grow with what am I trying to say? I was talking about it with actually one of our members the other day. Like rebellion as a teenager is different from rebellion as a man, and you can really grow with it. And it doesn't have to be the concept in and of itself can grow. And I mean that's something I've always kind of thought about and think about a lot.
That's interesting.
It's you have to grow as a person, and you can still hold those same concepts that you had starting off getting into the underground as an adult. You just have to go about them in different ways. Like when you're a kid, when you're a teenager, maybe drinking is a way of rebellion, but it's a bit sad when you're 30 and doing that, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It also doesn't really work physically anymore. Like your body starts shutting down around you.
No, and I mean, I don't have a problem with people drinking. Like, I'm not trying to say that, but like just the mindset of having to be some party animal as a way to rebel when you're an adult is just a little silly to me.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I to me, it's weird. It kind of is my rebellion, but not in that sense. Like on my weekends when I'm off from work, and not being a professional, I rage because that's my little vacation. And I go and I drink and, whatever, just rage out. But during the professional time, obviously it's not worth it, but when I was younger, I did that on stage a lot. And I regret, that's one of my few regrets in life is like not being there present for some of those shows that like we went a little too hard, just cause we were exhausted from the road or, whatever it was. Like I didn't give it my all for sure. Like I was just tired.
I hear you. And like I said, I don't have anything against it, but it was just never really for me.
Did you never ever drink? You have never had alcohol, or you had a little and you stopped?
I haven't.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, if you've not had any up until this point, there really is no point to have any now.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of how I look at it. No, I mean, it was just never really appealing to me, so never really something I got into.
Are you, do you drink coffee?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, that's my one I kind of got into in my kind of mid-20s, and I do love a good cup of coffee.
There it is. See, that's one thing I have found common amongst folks that don't drink. It's just the coffee is there.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't. Yeah, it's there. I don't overdo it. But yeah, I like good coffee.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, I wake up every morning and make a 30-minute. Takes me 30 minutes to make coffee. It's annoying, but it's worth it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's that good cup is worth it for sure.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it is, it's a drug for me. It like physically affects me. If I don't have my coffee, I get headaches. I get that weird hangover,
the withdrawal.
Yeah, the withdrawals, dude. The shakes.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I need a fucking cup.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it's also I'm Cuban and I grew up in this household where they would make the most intense coffee every couple hours. So my body's just used to insane levels of caffeine.
Oh, okay. That's funny. Yeah, I don't really experience too much of the whole withdrawal thing if I don't have one, but I only have like one cup a day or something, so it doesn't. Yeah, it's not like overboard. And like I said, I got into it sort of later in life, but yeah, it's something I definitely enjoy.
Is there anything you nerd out about aside from music?
I'm a movie guy. I grew up on horror movies. I
wanted to go back to talking to you about the video work. So, obviously it shows that you know a little bit about it. Did you go to school for it?
Yeah, I did actually. I went to school here in Atlanta for video.
Oh, nice.
Most of the learning came from real world experience, though, as does anything else. So, and the music video thing for us, it was just something we went for. I was just like, nah, I've never really done one, so let's just try it. So, I mean, The Hunger was sort of my first attempt at like a real music video that we worked on, and there's parts in both videos where I'm like, we could have done this better, we could have done that better, but it was sort of our first kind of stab at it, and came out decent for what they were, but we're trying to really improve on the next ones. And a band that has no budget, it's nice to do these things for essentially on our own, without a budget, it's nice to be able to do it for basically free. I mean, we're paying the camera guy, and that's about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you renting the cameras, or do you own a nice camera?
My friend David, who shot him, he owns the camera.
Okay.
And I have a good bit of lighting equipment and all that, so we have access to the studio and all that.
Nice.
So yeah, essentially, like I said, it's essentially free for us to do it.
Now, I wanted to ask you, because I'm also a huge fan of film, and I have ideas to make things, and one thing that I've always noticed in between different bands, quality wise videos, there's a distinct difference with my eyes anyway, that you can tell that a camera is more expensive. Like some of these band videos I've seen, they're shot and the idea is good, but they move a little bit faster or something. Like there's something to do with the movement where I can tell that that's not a good, like that's a kind of a like a phone camera compared to like a camera you see in a Game of Thrones or something. You know what I mean?
Right. It could have to do with the frame rate as well. If they're shooting in like a 60 frames per second type of deal, it'll be the motion will be kind of that what they call like soap opera effect.
Yeah.
So where it's like it really kind of home video. But a lot of, if you want the cinematic style, you got to go 24 frames or 30. Okay. That's getting into the nitty gritty detail, but it could be that too. But yeah, it could be the camera quality as well.
But that makes sense though about the frames, and it's funny because I'm a gamer too, so you always get the idea that faster frames is better. Like everybody's like, oh, 60 frames per second is the way to go for games. It's like, well, probably not for film.
Right. Yeah. The only reason to really shoot at 60 is if you're doing slow-mo shots, because then you slow it down to what would be 24, and then it slows them down to where they're moving slow-mo, but it has like a 24 frames look.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, so there's a lot of little nitty-gritty details, but it's we try to use the best gear that we can, and I think that's another thing we want to step up on the new ones is messing with different cameras and different looks. I have some ideas for some really kind of different style video for one of the songs, and then Max is working on sort of a screenplay shot list for another song, so we're kind of putting our heads together on that.
Nice, man. Yeah, I feel like that's something that's lacking these days. There's not a whole lot of musical films coming out like back in the day with like Pink Floyd The Wall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the ones that do come out end up coming out cheesy. Like I didn't really like that. I like Metallica, but I didn't like that Metallica movie.
Oh yeah.
I was not feeling that.
I don't think I saw it. Yeah, I don't think I watched that.
Yeah, and it's
just
one of those
that's hard
things.
to do. It's hard to do for sure. I know, going back to like a huge band like Ghost, I think they mentioned they wanted to do a movie, which I could see them pulling off. But
well, yeah, they do those little video clips online that are little TV episodes or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I think they want to expand into like a full movie. A good one, a good DVD that came out is Watain Opus Diaboli DVD. It is a live show, but it's intertwined with interviews and like B-roll, and it was sort of advertised as a movie, and I thought that one was really well done.
Yeah,
came out in 2012 or something.
Like those are cool too. I like those where they're really elaborate behind the scenes shots and stuff like that. I know Gojira's doing that with the Red Rocks. I think they're or Opeth. One of those two bands kind of released that, and I like that. But I mean more like a movie, like a story, kind of like The Wall, and the music's part of it. Because I've always felt that with film and video games too, that the music is such an important part of it. Yeah,
I couldn't even begin to fathom the work that would go into something like that to really sit down and write a full movie and a screenplay, but intertwine your music into it. It's pretty wild concept these days.
I think
it'd be cool, though. It'd be cool to pull it off. Yeah, maybe my mind's going now. That could be cool.
I think you should do it. Nobody's doing it, and you have the background. You're doing the video work already. you have the tools to do it. I would love to see something like that. I mean,
or at least a mini.
Yeah, even if
not
it's
really a movie,
short
but like
film.
a mini series. Yeah, short film.
Yeah, it could be a 30-minute short film, or just like you said, a mini series would be cool too.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Might have to think on that one.
Oh, very cool, man. Well, yeah, that's all the questions I had for you. So I want to thank you for taking time to talk to me. I know you
Thanks for interviewing.
got stuff going on, and interviews and writing music and finishing albums and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's been busy.
Yeah, and you're about to hit the road again, so yeah, and you got to prep for all that stuff.
yeah, I've been doing tour preparations and all that. So yeah, we're in the middle of a lot of stuff right now, but it's good. It's good to be busy with music, especially.
Yeah, dude. When does the tour start with Khemmis?
July 11th. It goes basically to the end of the month of July. So yeah, it's 2.5 weeks, I think.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it should be good. It's all the good kind of East Coast markets and some Canadian shows as well. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys that's a good mix with Khemmis. Old Zach will be carrying a lot of beers on tour. I know you're not drinking.
Oh yeah. No, I went to that True Brewing place though when we played Denver, and it's really cool inside. They did a really good job with it.
Yeah, I love that place. It's felt like home the first time I walked in. I was like, oh, look at that music. There's metal posters on the wall.
yeah, it was really well done.
Yeah, very cool. So cool. June tour. Keep an eye on the social media. July tour with Khemmis. The dates will be, I'm assuming, on your socials.
Yeah, they're all over there. There's posters and everything.
All right, and then what's the social media for you guys? Cloak or is there?
Cloak _Atlanta. So it's just Cloak Atlanta on Instagram, and then Facebook is just Cloak.
Atlanta. There's a lot of film in Atlanta now these days, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can't really go down the road without seeing a film truck. There's productions all over the place. Probably nice. 75% of the movies you see now are probably filmed here, or at least parts of them. So it's really booming. It's like the LA of the East Coast at this point.
Nice. Well, there you go. You have even more connections for making this musical movie.
yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. Thanks a lot for the interview.
No, thank you, man. Have a good day. Cheers.
Yep. See ya. Bye.